I'm Hannah, and with me are Ian and Emily, and we're going to play for you a video that's all about this this topic, and hopefully that will inform you pretty well um, about the issues.
Hello everyone, welcome to our presentation. So let me first give a brief overview of what we'll be talking to you about in this presentation. Firstly, my name is Hannah, and with me are Emily and Ian, and we'll be showing you how it's possible to both make money and also be an ethical and sustainable company. And by sustainable, we don't just mean in terms of the environment, but also by your company having solid roots through fair treatment of employees. We'll be discussing all of this. We all know that the planet is in a serious state right now, but it can be hard to do the right thing for fear of losing money. So we're going to show you how other big brands are tackling this issue without sacrificing their profits, which will hopefully inspire you to rethink your approach to sustainability in business. So you may have already heard of this company already, but basically we're going to first talk to you about Patagonia, which is one of the biggest outdoor clothing brands around, and they're taking pretty impressive action to reduce its environmental impact. So it does that in a few ways. For example, all of its cotton is certified organic by the Global Organic Textile Standard, and it is Blue Sign certified. So if you haven't heard of Blue Sign before, it's basically a system that aims to find solutions for sustainable textile production by eliminating harmful substances at each step of the supply chain and approving chemicals, processes, materials and products that are safe for the environment, the workers and customers. A high proportion of its materials are made from recycled fabrics, including polyester, nylon and wool, and it also belongs to both the Sustainable Apparel Coalition and for the 1% for the Planet movement. It rejects fast fashion by creating high-quality, long-lasting products and offers a repair and reuse program. And Patagonia even goes as far as to discourage customers from purchasing too many of their products. And what you can see before you right now are examples from their Don't Buy This campaign, which came out a couple of years ago. And it was designed to tackle the issues of consumerism head on. So they recognise that buying less is one of the major steps shoppers can take to reduce their own eco-footprint, saying, quote, "It would be hypocritical for us to work for the environmental change that we need without encouraging customers to think before they buy." And that's definitely a message we can get behind.
The next company we will be looking at is Adobe, which, as you may know, is a software company. We were really surprised when doing our research to find out that it was a sustainable company. Adobe wanted to reduce their impact on the planet, especially as they got bigger and more successful. During this time, they decided they'd become more sustainable. California was in the middle of a big drought. One way in which they became more sustainable was by retrofitting their businesses and optimising them to have less impact and reduce energy consumption. They did this by installing solar panels. When it came to making strategic business decisions, they prioritised renewable energy. They made the decisions from a business and sustainable standpoint. They found that they saved money over the past 10 years by using solar and wind energy. In 2018, they signed the first renewable energy collaboration deal. They teamed with other companies such as Facebook to create 10 megawatts of power, which match their own energy use. They hold all their suppliers to the same standards as they hold themselves. They collaborate with them and their suppliers to meet the RE100 goals. They are on track to become 100% renewable energy by 2035.
Since the 1990s, living wage campaigns have emerged in English-speaking developed countries, specifically Canada, Ireland, New Zealand, the United Kingdom and the United States. The main objective of such campaigns has been to draw attention to the perceived inadequacy of existing statutory minimum wage levels and to help secure pay increases for low-paid workers. There are a lot of powerful benefits of being a living wage employer, and I'll talk about some of them now. First off, paying the living wage leads to better employee retention. 75% of companies who have chosen to pay their employees the real living wage state that it has increased motivation and retention rates of employees. A prime example of this is the Brewdog study case. In the year after introducing the living wage, staff turnover of Brewdog's retail sites fell by 40%. In one store, annual staff turnover fell from 240% to 60%. Furthermore, due to the increase in staff retention rates, recruitment costs fell significantly. In 2015, Brewdog spent £130,000 on recruitment agencies, whereas in the first 4 months of 2016, they've only spent £10,000. Secondly, happier staff equals more productivity. There's plenty of evidence showing that when employees are happy, organisations thrive. One study found that happy employees are up to 20% more productive than unhappy employees. By paying your employees the living wage and ensuring that they have fewer worries about money, they can fully focus on their projects. Thirdly, it leads to improved relationships between staff and employees. Maintaining a strong employer-employee relationship is key to the success of an organisation, with strong relationships resulting in employees being more efficient, productive and loyal. Fourthly, it can really improve the reputation of your business. The reputation of your business impacts all relationships, from customers and clients to partners and possible contract opportunities. A survey of more than 800 accredited real living wage businesses found that 93% of them reported having benefited from becoming a real living wage employer, with 86% of respondents reporting that the living wage accreditation had enhanced the company's reputation as an employer. And lastly, it really does differentiate your company from competitors. In a competitive landscape, it is vital to stand out from the crowd. This applies when trying to sell your products or services to clients or when trying to recruit new staff. In manufacturing, there are plenty of other companies offering similar products and likewise similar work. Offering the real living wage is a good opportunity to hire the best staff, as well as demonstrating to customers that you care about your stakeholders. In conclusion, we have a chance here to be a shining example to the whole planet and ensure a sustainable future for generations to come. Companies like Patagonia and Adobe have shown us just how doable it is to make these changes and really build for a sustainable future. I hope you've enjoyed our presentation today. Thanks for listening.
Well done, guys. That's an excellent and highly professional presentation. Can I ask you just to tell us a little bit about how you approached making this presentation? What were the difficulties you found in working in a virtual environment?
I'll go first. I think we should all answer that question because it's pretty interesting. I think we all have a slightly different perspective, but I think because of COVID, we actually were off with a better start because we already had a good amount of time to get used to working online, especially this year. So I actually found it much easier than it probably would have been if we had done this module any other year.
Very interesting, Hannah. Anybody else?
Well, I personally found it quite difficult. I think especially because being online all day, the last thing I wanted to do in the evening was to sit on my laptop and talk to more people virtually. So I think I felt myself dragging through this project and I felt that I didn't put 100% in just because I've been spending so much time online. I feel like I've had too much virtual time. But I think towards the end, I kind of got my head around it and just kind of figured out that I just have to do it. So I think towards the end of the project, I definitely got a lot better at actually doing my virtual work as opposed to leaving it to the last minute.
Okay, well done on your honesty about the difficulties and interesting about how the approaching deadline tends to focus the mind, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It definitely does.
Ian?
I found it okay. I do a lot of work in terms of like my actual work online and stuff like that. Like a lot through email, so I didn't find it too hard. But I suppose we actually noticed when we were putting the video together that like sometimes like when we were recording the audio, we were sending stuff back and forth, and I was trying to explain something to Emily, and she just couldn't understand what I was saying via the virtual thing. So we actually had to do like a phone call just to explain it. So that was like, I guess, a limitation where we couldn't actually explain something in virtually. We had to actually kind of do it physically.
Interesting. Can I ask you guys to tell us a little bit about why you chose to make the presentation in the form of a YouTube video?
Well, so we first thought we would do like a slideshow and then speak over it. But we found it was easier to do it, record our own voices, and then put it together in a video. because it meant that we had more control over it and we didn't have to worry about doing it in Second Life and building something in Second Life. So we just found that it was more controllable to have it all built and ready to go, and just press play, as opposed to having to deal with that today. Like on.
Okay, that's a rational approach. It's an interesting choice. Do you think doing it that way will be as effective for the audience?
Absolutely not, no.
10 out of 10 for honesty. So it was easier for you guys because it put you in a better position of control. And I can understand that. Why do you think it mightn't be as effective for the audience?
I guess because you have the interaction side missing. So you kind of pay for it in that way. So luckily we're doing a Q&A session right now, which I think makes up for that a little bit. But I always find that the most effective presentations kind of include a kind of opening it up to the floor and asking for people's opinions on things, getting a little bit of that kind of interaction between speaker and listener.
Very good. I was going to say that too, that this Q&A actually brings in the interaction for you. Anybody from the floor like to ask a question or make a comment? Some of our guests. Oh, Gentle has a question. What companies did you think initially you should include that you learned weren't as good as the 3 you eventually chose? Gentle is asking.
I think one that I originally was looking at was a company that I really like their clothes, called the Pangea. And they market themselves as a sustainable company that only uses either sustainable or renewable materials. But after doing research, we found like it's very expensive. It's a very expensive brand, so it isn't as accessible to most people. Like it's a very luxury. So we decided we would use more companies that are more accessible and not as high end. So that was something interesting when we were looking into like the ethics of companies and stuff like that we came across.
One that I was looking at initially, that when we started on this project, I thought would be a good one to include, just because it came to my head first, was H&M. Because the past couple of years they've been advertising the fact that by 2020 they're planning on going full-on sustainable cotton for their products. But with research, I mean, it doesn't take that much research, but to get to this. But H&M is really bad for fast fashion problems and how they treat their workers in third world countries. So just, yeah, I think that's the most obvious one I can think of.
Very good. Well done, guys. I think you did a really excellent job. Thank you very much indeed. Take a seat and we'll see if the green team are ready to go.